This is our big story on India Tonight. The focus is on advertising and advertisements, specifically those misleading ones. We've seen so many ads of companies selling us everything from Gutkha to alcohol, but in a veiled kind of way. The Gutkha ones veiling packaging of Elaichi, and they're hiding behind that. Alcohol companies sell music CDs, they sell club soda. Amidst this continuous onslaught, this battle that we have on our hands for responsible advertising, the clamor for it has been growing. Now the government had to step in. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs has issued these new guidelines on what can and what cannot be represented through advertisements. These guidelines have been put in place to ensure consumers are not fooled anymore. These new rules are essentially trying to prevent advertisers from making unsubstantiated claims, exaggerated promises, misinformation, false claims, all of which has been stated in these new guidelines, that to avoid all of this, we need to follow this new set of guidelines. Preemptive provisions have also been laid down for advertisements that target children. The exaggeration of features of products or services has now been forbidden, and advertisers are supposed to ensure disclaimers for material information. The CCPA, the Central Consumer Protection Authority, has also issued norms for how celebrities endorse any product, any service. Celebrities will have to disclose their interest in the product, and they will have to conduct proper due diligence before they go ahead with the endorsement. Here at ET Now, we've conducted a poll. We conducted this through the evening on Twitter, in which 93% people who have polled and participated in it have said that celebrities do mislead through advertisements. A majority of people who have taken part, they believe that celebrities do mislead through advertisements. Let's understand why the government finally had to step in. For this, we are joined by consumer activist Jahangir Guise. Jahangir Guise, great to have you with us. You've had, we've seen this very strong case for consumers getting affected by misleading advertising. And this has been going on for a while now. According to you, which are the more extreme cases that you can share with our viewers that merit the kind of guidelines that the government had to step in to put down and try and ensure that this is going to happen? And of course, Prahlad Kakar is also joining us. We'll go to him next. But coming to you first, Jahangir Guise.
We find that there is rampant misrepresentation in advertising in various ways. For instance, one minute little ingredient of a particular product is used to project the goodness of the product as a whole. For instance, a particular almond oil may contain 0.0005% almond, and yet it is represented to be almond oil. Same way, there are various other items. You get advertisers representing, projecting that they are selling organic products. When it is disputed, they say organic is the manufacturing process. How can any manufacturing process be organic? It can be mechanical or it can be manual, but it cannot be organic. So advertisers come up with various types of gimmicks to try and deceive the gullible consumers. You have shirts which represent that they can protect you against COVID. You have paints which represent can kill bacteria. You have underwears which represent that they can kill bacteria. How long would the underwear be effective after it is washed? No evidence. We find even celebrities endorsing products which they have never used. So all in all, what we have come across is that the consumer is targeted through advertisements, and many a times the advertisements are run for a short period of time, and by the time any action is taken, the advertisement is withdrawn or it has lost its significance. So timely action
Kind
is
of
a
harm. I
must. This
understand
both by
the
the
points that you're
government.
making, they're all very valid, and the examples that you're citing all have immediate relevance because we've seen this happen in the recent past, though this battle has been going on for a while now, which is why I want to turn to Prahlad Kakar as well. Prahlad, we've spoken about this. It's not the first time that this has come up. Of course, the Advertising Council has tried to put in some of these measures as well. None of this has worked.
True.
Endorsements by celebrities that aren't accountable. You're talking about all the examples that Jahangir Guise is sharing with us. You've been in the advertising industry for so many years, Prahlad. In your
Yes.
assessment, these new guidelines that are being put in by the government asking for all-round responsibility so that consumers aren't misled, how crucial was it for the government to step in over here? Something that the advertising industry wasn't able to put in place?
This is the biggest tragedy of the advertising industry, is that first they allow the permissible lie, then they turn around and not put in a system by which everything has to be previewed by advertising professionals. Instead of letting the government come in and do a really ham-handed job on the whole basis of censorship. This is nothing but censorship. Okay? If they didn't want censorship of this draconian kind, and they wanted to be allowed a little latitude on creativity, then they should have done it themselves. And they should have done it with teeth. ASCII has no teeth. ASCII cannot ask for a preview. ASCII cannot demand that a film be banned. ASCII can only request that the film be banned and send it to the appropriate government body. So that means ASCII, which represents the advertising fraternity itself, is completely useless. So we have lost a 10-year window. It's been going on for 10 years. And I've been telling ASCII again and again, we should turn around and preview every commercial that goes on air, because only advertising professionals can understand subliminal advertising. Nobody else can, not even the government, to be very honest. But when the government comes down with such...
Prahlad, if you're going to call these guidelines draconian, and you're calling it sheer censorship by the government, obviously there's going to be a fallout. What exactly are you talking about over here? Now, if this is the kind of measures that the government would want the advertising industry to follow, what is going to be the likely fallout of it?
The fallout of it is that everything is going to be straightforward and like a PPT, and there's going to be very little creativity in it. Now, if the advertising fraternity themselves had taken charge of their own censorship and made it credible so that the government wouldn't have to step in, and the signs were there for 10 years. 10 years, this is it going backwards and forward. Nobody ever actually did. Everywhere in the world, it's self-censorship in every country. And they have a very strong committee of actually advertising professionals who actually preview everything from storyboard onwards. So, I mean, we deserve it, frankly. And if the government is going to make everything the same, the common denominator, and the advertising industry starts screaming and shouting and screaming about lack of creativity, so be it.
Jahangir Guy, do you think that this is going to be implemented in the way it needs to so that consumers aren't misled? The kind of activism that you have done as far as consumer rights are concerned when it comes to the advertising that they get exposed to, do you think it serves the purpose that the government has moved in the right direction? Because Prahlad is calling it draconian, and this is going to take away a lot of creativity. But that's not the concern as far as consumers are concerned. Do you think that their real requirements are going to get fulfilled by this set of guidelines?
Definitely they will get fulfilled. Creativity is something quite different from misrepresentation. You have sometimes you have puffery, and the guidelines take care of puffery. So some exaggerated statements, some creativity, there is a leeway for that. So long as the common consumer understands that it is puffery, it is fine. If it is projected in such a way that the consumer gets misled, then it is definitely an unfair practice. And it is a right move that the government attempts to stem this decay, because we have come across several advertisements where they get away literally with murder, so to say.
Cite those examples, but Prahlad,
is done for a short period.
Yes.
this job
yes.
should have been done by the industry.
No, I take that
industry,
point, Prahlad, but the guidelines say that it applies to all advertisements, regardless of form, format, or medium. In this era of social media, the way it's prevalent, the way it's used,
Correct.
do you think this is going to be possible to control? Because the advertising industry is known for its creativity. Are we going to be circumventing some of these?
No. When the government decides to do something in the best interests of the consumer, they lack a complete sense of humor. So all this buffering, and all is just it's just an edge of the cloud. The fact is, only advertising professionals know when it's exaggerated and when it's misleading. Nobody else actually knows it because they have deal with it day in and day out. And if there's a committee being set up, if 50% of the committee does not involve advertising professionals, then we are going to completely wipe out any creativity in advertising. Trust me, I've dealt with the government all my life, and I know that they lack a sense of humor.
Surrogate advertising. Now, of course, the guidelines, they refer to an advertisement for goods or services whose advertising is otherwise prohibited or restricted by law. It states, and I'm quoting from the guidelines, no surrogate advertisement or indirect advertisement shall be made for goods or services whose advertising is otherwise prohibited or restricted by law by circumventing such prohibition or restriction and portraying it to be an advertisement for other goods or services, the advertising of which is not prohibited or restricted by law. They're making it very, very clear over here. We've seen this, though, of course, happen as far as alcohol is concerned, through CDs, through bottled water, etc. Why has it not worked so far to control surrogate advertising, as obvious as it has been, Prahlad?
Because ASCII has not taken it up seriously.
But there must be a reason why,
we
right?
Have shot ourselves in the foot.
There's a reason why they haven't done it, because they could not have seen this coming.
No. There is a reason. They've been waffling about it for the last 10 years. Instead of making it mandatory for everybody to preview everything before it goes out and follow the rules exactly as they are and in the spirit of the rule. Not only just the rule, but there should be the spirit of the rule. We are not willing to do it. And if we are not willing to do it, then we invite the government to come and slam us with a sledgehammer. Fine. That's how it is. Let them suffer that consequence.
We're looking for more accountability, and that's the entire focus of the new guidelines right now, even celebrity endorsements. We've seen the kind where celebrities have had to really, I mean, of course, as far as products go, as far as companies go, they want to piggyback on the fame and reach of a celebrity endorser. Recently, Akshay Kumar had to issue an apology to fans after that Gutkha ad with Shah Rukh Khan and Ajay Devgan that he featured in. And clearly, more accountability is required, and they need to do their due diligence as well. Whether or not that happens, how it's going to happen, still remains to be seen in terms of implementation, how this is going to work. But I'm afraid we'll have to leave it over there, gentlemen. Running out of time, but this is a debate that is going to carry on for a while. We hope to connect with you again. Thank you very much, Prahlad Kakar, for joining us. And of course, for shedding light on what is going to be a very important debate that is going to carry on for a while, because this is something that, like you mentioned, has been going back and forth, but we haven't had closure yet. Now with these guidelines in place, as draconian as Prahlad says it is, whether we are going to be able to control that kind of advertising that remains unaccountable, we'll have to wait and watch. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.